what are we doing, man? As humans, what are we doing? And then the lying, right? So now if you tell the truth, you're the enemy, and if you're a liar, you're the victim. It's just everything is upside down, backwards, and it's really kind of hard even for a rational mind to get their head around it all.
And us kids would be made to do things with the adults and the animals, and then a sacrifice would happen.
The sacrifice? Were these animal sacrifices?
Animals and people.
On what scale do you think this was happening?
Enormous. Far beyond what we've ever heard of here before.
Teresa's mother, Bridget.
You're talking about mass murder?
Yes. On a scale that this country's never heard of before.
How many men or how many people would have sex with you?
Well, at one time.
Yes.
But everyone who was there, which must have been about 20, from 10 to 20 people. If it was a big ceremony, it used to be 30.
This really happened? You're quite sure of that?
Yeah.
That's coming to Orion, where there was talk of human sacrifice.
Killing the people made him happy.
Sacrifices to please the devil. According to Teresa, the worst rituals took place at a house, somewhere in the country.
It was big, expensive. From the front, it looked like a castle. There was a tramp who was brought in once, and he was killed. He was cut from his throat down to his stomach. And they ate him, or bits of him.
They killed a man at a ceremony?
Yeah.
In front of you?
Yeah, in front of all of us. He started screaming when they began to cut. But after a while, he died. I'd seen a few killings before then. Although I wasn't used to it, that was the worst one.
Let me get this right now. Are you saying that you saw more than one person killed in that house?
Yeah. I've seen loads of babies killed there. Just newborn babies. Or aborted ones, which were only small. 4-year-olds. Any age, really.
Parents, police.
What about the teachers at school? Who's the main one?
Look, Papa, Mr. Holland, Mrs. Forsyth.
Who's Mrs. Forsyth?
She's the head teacher of our school.
And what does she do?
And she does sex. She got a big belly with a big tattoo on her throat.
What happens in the church?
And we do baby sacrifice and eat the baby.
What do you mean sacrifice and eat the baby?
So we kill the baby and eat it and drink the blood from it.
Is that true, Gabriel?
Yes. And we dance with the skulls.
You what?
We dance with the skulls in the church.
What skulls?
The skulls of the baby.
Pardon?
The skulls of the baby.
You dance with the baby skulls?
Yes.
And who kills the baby?
Papa, me, and Lisa. And so,
Who kills the babies?
Papa.
And what, he gets you to help him?
Yes.
What happened to the pregnancies, to the babies?
They were aborted by my nan or by one of the doctors at the house.
There were doctors there at that house?
Yeah, there was 2, I think. Yeah, and a nurse.
What would happen to the fetuses, the unborn babies?
They used to be taken away most of the time, and one time baby was taken out of me and then killed in front of me because it was still alive.
And then, what would happen?
Well, after they killed it, they would eat it. But we were also made to eat it.
You were made to eat your own fetus?
Yeah.
Who made you do this?
My nan.
She said to me it was something that everybody did. She thought, like you don't like going to school with a dentist, you don't like going to the black masses.
It was never any different. I didn't have nothing to compare it to.
All part of life.
Teresa's story, her account, doesn't really surprise you.
It doesn't surprise me in the light of satanic abuse, no.
Do you get frustrated with people who just won't accept that these things do happen?
Yes, because I've worked with murderers in prisons for years. Not that long ago, a boy was found in a forest in southern England without a head. We have no doubts that men can do that. And yet when we start talking about men within Satanism who actually believe in evil and it's the right to express evil, we suddenly have a doubt.
I want you to look at this right here. Why does the Pope's audience hall in the Vatican look like a demon? Why do you call a priest a pastor or a shepherd? Just so you know, pastor and shepherd are the same word.
Shepherd.
Those are animal caretakers, is basically what a pastor or a shepherd is.
Pastor.
Herdsman.
Okay, he's a farmer who takes care of animals. So you have the Pope's audience hall in the Vatican. This is what it looks like. And this is the image of a Draco demon. They found one in Mexico and chopped its head off. Here you can see, top image is the Pope's audience hall in the Vatican. Bottom image is the head of a Draco demon. Notice how the Pope's audience hall looks like the demon, okay? Look at this. This is what eyewitness testimonies say that they look like. Here's the Draco head that they found in Mexico. Here's the Pope's audience hall. There's the Pope right there. This is the head of a statue that is right here, which is actually at the mouth of the snake. Right there, at the very mouth of the snake, okay, is where the Pope sits. The Pope sits at the mouth of the snake, and there's a demon statue, and this is the head of the demon statue. It kind of looks like an alligator head. Here's a snake or a reptile, okay? And here you can get some more images. So you have the Pope's audience hall. There's the Pope right there. There's the eye. Okay, there's the Pope's audience hall again. See how it looks exactly like this head of a snake? Okay, there's another image of the Pope's audience hall. Again, the Pope sits at the mouth of the snake. There's the Pope right there. He would be sitting right there, that little white speck. That's the Pope right there. There's the demon statue. Statue of a demon rising from hell. Pope sits at the mouth of a snake. Why is there a demon rising from hell in the Pope's audience hall? Okay, and there's the head right there. It looks like an alligator man or some kind of demon head. Okay, so if you Google Catholic Church sex abuse cases, one of the very first websites that comes up is Wikipedia. And here's the top printout of the Wikipedia page. If you actually tried to print this out, if you actually tried to print out the sex abuse cases in the Wikipedia library, it would take you an entire box of paper. There's so much information here. Okay, so literally thousands, over 3,000 verified and confirmed, with untold countless more cases of pedophile priests from all over the globe. No one is talking about this. You have to ask why. Keep reading, it gets even deeper. Okay, so there's sex abuse happening in the Catholic Church all over the world. Thousands upon thousands of priests molesting countless children, countless amounts of children. Okay, so here we go. Catholic Church cover-up. 300 priests sexually abused 1,000 children in Pennsylvania. This is a CBS article from November last year.
Begin here with what appears to be the largest abuse scandal to shake the American Catholic Church yet. After a 2-year investigation, a Pennsylvania grand jury today alleged decades of abuse of children by more than 300 men described as predator priests. It detailed the accounts of more than 1,000 children, but said there are likely thousands more victims. And the report says church leaders protected the priests in a cover-up that went all the way to the Vatican. Nikki Batiste is in Harrisburg.
Priests were raping little boys and girls, and the men of God who were responsible for them not only did nothing, they hid it all for decades.
Okay, and this is an archdiocese reveals 57 alleged child sexual abusers, and that's the Archdiocese of New Orleans. And there's thousands more priests that were accused but never charged. The children that were abused, they never came forward and actually officially charged the priests, so there's a lot of cases that they can't really prosecute because the key witnesses won't come forward. Okay, high-ranking Vatican official releases statement implicating Pope Francis in sexual abuse. Okay, the pedophilia in the Catholic Church goes all the way up to the Pope. The implications of a worldwide pedophilia network disguised as a benevolent organization to take in children and manage orphanages where children have no protection from family. What could they be doing with the children? Okay, Illinois' Attorney General says Catholic Church failed to disclose abuse accusations against 500 priests and clergy. Okay, this is an article from CNN, and this came out within the last year. Today is Easter 2019. Okay, here's a quote from Hitler. "We tolerate no one in our ranks who attacks the ideas of Christianity. Our movement is Christian." Adolf Hitler, October 27th, 1928. Okay? Hitler and the Nazis were tightly intertwined with the Catholic Church and the Vatican. The Nazis had the blessings of the Catholic Church, and the Vatican even had its own militia that exterminated millions of people in the Yugoslavian Holocaust. Google it.
Today I want to concentrate on 2 books for the purpose of my little documentation. The first book, of course, is Hitler's Pope, a very well-known book, written by the very distinguished journalist John Cornwell, Cardinal Aloysius Stepanek, in what is now the country called Yugoslavia. I want to look at the role of Archbishop Stepanek. The Roman Catholic Church had decided would be the role for the Catholic Church in Yugoslavia when Hitler was on his wave, But what they were saying is that Pavlich, the man who was Hitler's sort of appointee for there, and did it very willingly too, would destroy anyone who refused to be converted to Roman Catholicism. I'm going to put that to one side because I want to turn to this little book here, Smokescreen. Now, this came out in 1983. Very controversial book. It certainly looks at the whole role of the Roman Catholic Church. I want to show you some very disturbing pictures now, and I hope you won't find these too gruesome because they're pretty horrific, and you may want to look away and just listen to what we're going to say here. Right, we go to page 25, and there we see the usual suspects of Europe at that time: Hitler, Mussolini, and of course Franco. This gentleman here, Sten Kukavichkia, is a Franciscan monk, also seen in the uniform of the Ustashi. Now, the Ustashi were like the Gestapo and the SS all rolled into one. Anyone who wasn't a Catholic and didn't have a little passport or a little paper document stamped by the hierarchy of Yugoslavia fell foul of these guys. And there you can see him there in his monk's robes, and there you see him there in his uniform of the Ustashi. It looks like he's holding a Kalashnikov rifle there. But to turn the page over, we get a little bit of picture there of what was going on at that time in the Ustashi state of Croatia. Now, the first picture, you can see Antel Pavlich. Can you see the gentleman there under the candelabra there? Head of the Ustashi state of Croatia, surrounded by Croatian Catholic clergy in April 1942. And he was to Yugoslavia what Hitler was to Germany. Those who are on the side of the Croats and the Catholic Church love the guy. Very, very popular. And there you can see him further down there. The bishops and Archbishop of Croatia gave full support to the Ustashi. Here the Croatian bishops and the Archbishop are seen pictured then Pavlich during one of their frequent conferences with him. They worked very much with this guy to get people converted. Interesting picture here. Nuns marching together with Croatian National Legionnaires, the Ustashi. Does it look frightening? They look like something out of KKK. These pointer, can you see them there? Marching behind these murderers who are going to take on the Orthodox and the Muslims and anyone else who didn't go along what this monster had to say. There he is again. Among Croatian nuns, can you see the good ladies there? They were decorated by Pavelic for their heroic Ustashi deeds. They were probably the local Stasi who reported anybody who wasn't going along with the official line to be converted. And I turn the page over and we come to some of the atrocities. Here's a Ustashi with a sadistic smile on his face. Can you see that? Chopping off a man's head with an axe. Can you see that? Can you see that? And later on we're going to see that man's head, I suspect. And this photograph of Ustashi taken in Bosnia in 1943 before they executed their victim. A priest named Ivan Ragovic repeatedly urged the killing of all Serbs, including children, so that, quote, not even the seeds of the beasts are left. This is a Roman Catholic priest. And we come over here to one of the most disgusting pictures here on page 31. Here you see the Ustashi carrying the head of a Serbian or Orthodox priest. Can you see that? This gentleman's probably been beaten up. He's probably had his fingernails torn out. He's probably been sexually raped, possibly with a rifle and so forth. And there's his head held up there. Here's a Franciscan monk, Flipovic left, as a priest wearing his cassock and in his Ustashi uniform. Flipovic was the commandant of the concentration camp at Jasenovac. And here's some of the corpses of the children there. Can you see them starved to death in this disgusting, vile camp? Now, we all know that Europe was a terrible place in those awful periods. But here you had this open courtship between the church in Rome, the hierarchy in Yugoslavia, with Pavelic. And there's some horrific stories here. I'll just pick out a few of them. It says that Dubrovnik, Dalmatia fascist soldiers had photographs of an Ustashia wearing two necklaces. One was a string of cut-out eyes, the other of torn-out tongues of murdering Orthodox Serbs. And this is what they did. In a camp, we're told here, the Ustashi arrested one whole Serbian family consisting of father, mother and 4 children. The mother and the children were separated from the father. For 7 days they were tortured by starvation and thirst. Then they brought the mother and children a good-sized roast and plenty of water to drink. These unfortunately were so hungry that they ate the entire roast. After they had finished, the Ustashi told them that they'd eaten the flesh of their father. Now, my beef is that Stepanek, Blessed Aloysius as he is called, this man, Stepanek, wasn't singing his heart out. He was betraying hundreds of thousands of innocent Serbs who didn't want to become Roman Catholic. They had no intention of becoming Roman Catholic. And because they didn't become Roman Catholic, they were tracked down, tortured, brutally subjected to physical torture and so forth, and placed in concentration camps. Pius XII and Stepanek had agreed between them to work together. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think this man Stepanek is worthy to be called blessed.
4 million Yugoslavians lost their lives from militias that were controlled by the Catholic Church. This was at the same time that the Nazis were exterminating the Jews. And nobody talks about the Yugoslavian Holocaust that was primarily run by the Catholic Church. Like, literally nobody talks about it. Okay, Vatican cops bust drug fuel gay orgy at the home of Cardinal Zaid. This is in the Vatican, and there's a lot of reports of drugs in the Vatican, homosexuality, gay orgies, you name it. This is an article, I think this article is from the New York Post.
So when they then, in the evening, they go in a dark black mass, they liberate themselves. So they start doing cocaine, doing all kinds of things that they were not supposed to do. Yeah. Just last week, they have discovered a cocaine expedition going to the Vatican, a packet of cocaine that was destined to a Vatican citizen.
Okay, but you can Google all of these and you'll find them on Google. Red Cross and the Vatican helped thousands of Nazis escape. The Nazis that escaped Germany after World War II came to America in Project Paperclip.
Talking about the Fourth Reich, which is the name of a book that Jim Marrs has written, and it's all about how the United States brought the Nazi scientists over in Paperclip, and that they started the secret space program. And the part that is in the general public is, of course, Los Alamos, you know, and the nuclear bombs and so on and so forth. But it went much far beyond that.
The Nazis that escaped Germany after World War II came to America in Project Paperclip and created the CIA. They are now in control of the entire planet. They control the government, the media, the banking, education, corporate, oil, and the churches and secret societies like the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, and Freemasons. We saw nuns kill kids. Nuns at the Vermont Catholic Orphanage accused of sexual abuse, child torture, and forcing kids to kiss corpses. Obviously, some very terrible conditions in Catholic orphanages.
It's interesting that you were Catholic, because what we've seen in the last 10 or 20 years maybe is a lot of dark secrets coming out about what is going on, especially in the Vatican. And
they're far more darker yet than you know.
Really?
Far more darker than you even suspect.
Could you please start going into that,
that
alley?
I don't think that's very safe for me doing that.
Okay, here's an article from the Daily Mail. Mass graves are found in disguised sewers at a former Catholic home for unmarried mothers in Ireland. So they found grave sites in disguised sewers, thousands of children buried in disguised sewers in a Catholic orphanage in Ireland. And this is only one of 13 other orphanages where it is known that there's countless amounts of children that have gone missing from these orphanages. Okay, so in this particular orphanage in Tom, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, in Ireland, there was over 800 children officially declared missing, and they found thousands of dead children in disguised sewers. And the area where they found these children, they literally covered it up with a foot of gravel so nobody can bury down and find out exactly how far down it goes, and possibly if there's any other tunnels down there, and possibly where these tunnels lead to. Okay, now in the other orphanages in Ireland, there is actual members of parliament in parliament saying that there's countless missing children from the Irish orphanages, and they have no idea where they went. In fact, they even say that some of the children were sold, and they don't know who they were sold to. They say some of the children might have been shipped off to America, and that they have definitely been shipped off, and that nobody has any idea where they went. Okay,
we took their babies and we gifted them, or we sold them, or we trafficked them to the point of their disappearance from our hearts and from our sight, from our country, and in the case of Tuam, and possibly other places, from life itself.
You're talking thousands and thousands of children harvested from Catholic orphanages, and this has been happening through all the Catholic orphanages around the world for centuries, literally centuries. Children have been going missing from these orphanages. Nobody knows where they go, okay? And here is just one little example of evidence creeping to the surface of massive graves are found, massive graves of children, babies and children's bodies are found in disguised sewers in a Catholic orphanage in Ireland. And that's one of 13 other orphanages that it's known that there's thousands upon thousands and thousands of missing children. And that's just one of the many, many, many orphanages that exist. The CIA and the Vatican intelligence apparatus. The CIA and the Vatican have been working behind the scenes for decades. You think that when you confess to a priest, he keeps your secrets? Nope. They record everything from the people who confess, and they use it to blackmail people they want to control. Okay? The CIA was created from the Nazis that escaped Europe through the Vatican. They are all connected, and they are working in secret to take over the world and turn us all into slaves. All right, so the CIA and the Vatican apparatus are part of a giant secret network that is infiltrating and controlling humanity, okay? The Great Scandal, Christianity's role in the rise of Nazis. All right, and here you can see some high priests in the Vatican with Nazis doing the Nazi salute. Notice the high priest performing the Nazi salute with the Nazis. What you probably didn't know is that the Holocaust was coordinated effort to harvest humans to feed the beast. Keep reading. This planet is in a lot of trouble, and you need to know the truth about what is happening on this planet.
World War II was an extraterrestrial war fought for human bodies.
Okay? The statue that is supposedly Jesus Christ that the Pope sits in front of in the Pope's audience hall looks like a half man, half demon. Okay? There's the Pope right there. This is the statue that's right behind him at the Pope's audience hall. You see how it kind of looks like an alligator head? Okay? And they even have right here, they joke about the Pope being an alligator man in cartoons and comics. What do they really know? Crocodilius Pontifex. What that means is that's the crocodile Pope. So here you have this demon statue that the Pope sits in front of, and they're making fun of it in cartoons with some alien language underneath, and there's the Pope literally speaks from the mouth of the snake. Okay? The crucifixion of Jesus Christ is the devil's trophy, okay? The devil killed Jesus Christ, okay? And his crucifixion is the devil's trophy, and that's what the Catholics use as their main symbol of Catholicism, is the crucified Jesus, okay? The crucifixion of Jesus Christ is the devil's trophy. The never-ending wars on the planet hide the harvest. They eat people. The Catholic Church harvests orphans and feeds them to the Draco demons.
I tell you that the Alpha Draconians are here now.
They are carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are they carnivorous that eat humans?
Yes. And they need to be, they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children.
Was none other than Enrico de Pedis. I finally knew who had kidnapped my sister. Although no clues related to my sister were found in de Pedis' tomb, it became common knowledge that the Vatican had a business relationship with the Italian mafia. Shortly after the excavation, stories began to circulate describing huge sums of criminal money being laundered by the Vatican Bank.
I'm told the Vatican does have a very efficient intelligence service, and it's long collaborated with intelligence services like the CIA, providing useful intelligence. And especially in the wake of the Second World War, there was a great collaboration between the Vatican and the CIA.
I am on record as a former CIA operations officer saying that our 1,000 bases overseas are not there for national defense. They're there to serve as lily pads for the smuggling of guns, gold, cash, drugs, and small children. And small children. And small children.
They're fucking demons, dude. They got that type of technology. They use black magic. They use the blood of innocents to do their black magic and their rituals and stuff like that. Anyways, I know, yeah, you can call me completely fucking nuts. Don't worry about that paragraph. It's just something for you to think about. Because they do have time travel technology. They have mind control. They absolutely do have mind control. They have mind control. They can read your mind.
This is the story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time.
Tonight, we are taking you inside the CIA's top secret mind control program called MKUltra. The program, born in the Cold War, built on the idea that a human being could be bent, broken, or steered with the right drug, the right fear, the right push.
Much like a robot's network of wires transmitting signals between sensors, processors, and motors, our nervous system also has a similar setup. Signals are sent from our sensory organs to the brain and finally get actuated in the muscles. To understand how we can control something with our mind, we need to comprehend brain signals, also known as mind reading. This mind reading is a fundamental aspect of being able to control or manipulate those signals.
2018, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency could also be used by DARPA as a new form of mind control. Like their counterparts at the CIA, DARPA-funded researchers have spent decades investigating how the human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
It could be 1,000 things that affect brain chemistry: a tuned microwave beam, gamma radiation, a radio signal.
Which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
To read and write to human brains. Maybe the next step is we can send instructions and information to an actual person from a distance with this kind of technology to let another person control their actions.
In the near future, DARPA may possess the technology to remotely control the human mind. According to some scientists, a more permanent kind of mind control technology is looming, and it involves modifying the human brain by altering the human body's DNA.
The future of mind control, and the future being right now because these experiments are being done, is using gene editing tools. So you take the CRISPR that you want to use, and you put these pieces together that can be injected and insert this DNA to certain areas of the brain so that we can change brain cells and turn you into something you wouldn't otherwise be. So in this way, gene editing technologies like CRISPR really form a definite basis for future mind control.
Because the pineal gland is a receiver, a frequency receiver, is the third eye. It has rods and cones, just like the retina in our eyes has rods and cones. It receives information and frequencies and sound and resonance, and it should allow us to communicate telepathically. It should allow us all the benefits of ESP. It should connect us to all the knowledge and information in the resonance field and the morphogenetic field.
They absolutely do have mind control. They have mind control. They can read your mind. They can mind control is an interesting thing because I've been a victim of mind control many times, and I've built somewhat of a blocker in my head, like a firewall, if you will, that prevents them from completely controlling me. But there have been times, especially if I'm really drunk, that they can fuck with me. And I've actually, I did this one video, I was real drunk, and I was like, you guys want to see something crazy? Because I knew what was going to happen. Like, subconsciously, I knew what was going to happen. So I was already really fucking, like, literally fucking sheets of the wind, fucking drunk. And I was like, I made this video. I was like, you guys want, I'll put it up here. I was like, you guys want to see something crazy? And I mean, I knew what was going to happen. So then I drank, and I fucking went through this thing, and I was like, fucking, I am the devil. That's all this is going to be for the rest of the night. Me getting drunk going, And like, I remember there was this one YouTuber that responded to that video. She's like, that was mind control. She's like, it's clear as day. Like, she can see them fucking with me. So yeah, they do. They got technology that you cannot believe. They have mind control technology. They can read your mind. You hear this thing, this AI neural processing unit? Dude, they want to be able to read everyone's mind on the planet in real time to know what everyone's doing and thinking at all times.
I think mind control sounds crazy to people, but it's not. But then once you start to notice it, you can't unsee it. When I first heard of Monarch, by the way, it's part of MKUltra and all that other shit.
What do the Nazis, the CIA, and Aleister Crowley all have in common? What's really controlling Hollywood and the music industry? MKUltra, is it just mind control, or does it have a bigger influence? And how does this affect you?
If you tell a lie enough, it becomes true. Right, so mind control goes back all the way to Egyptian times with the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But, let's fast forward to more recent times.
So before World War II, the Nazis were already experimenting with mind control.
Okay, so after World War II, the US DoD, or Department of Defense, recruited many of the top Nazi scientists, which was actually called Project Paperclip. And they met with President Truman and a bunch of other US generals. So the Office of Strategic Services eventually became the CIA with Allen Dulles at the head in 1947.
So yeah, this is like Hydra. I mean, this is literally a worse situation than Winter Soldier.
This is like, I mean, at least in Winter Soldier had mind control. I mean, this is like real life.
But like at least in Winter Soldier, like Hydra infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. Like here, we let them right in.
It'd be like, so the Office of Strategic Services eventually became the CIA.
So yeah, this is like Hydra.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is
Hydra. It's like, yeah, basically.
That's crazy.
So,
you're right. Okay, so in 1953, during the Cold War, Dulles approved Project MK-Ultra to originally combat the Soviets who were brainwashing enemies with drugs and other psychological manipulators. However, this went from being used for warfare to the general public, with hundreds being tested without knowing, and some of them did know and some of them didn't know.
Right.
I mean, they had over 80 different testing sites from colleges, drug manufacturers, hospitals, prisons, and realistically, Columbia University seemed to be one of the biggest test sites that they had. MK-Ultra is now a blanket term used for pretty much anything related to mind control. They were using other terms after that, like Project Orion, MK Delta, Project Clean Sweep.
Quote from former Soviet dictator.
Well, don't forget mass murderer as well.
Yeah, of course. Joseph Stalin, who said, if I could control the medium of the American motion picture, I would need nothing else to convert the entire world to communism.
Related to all of this in Hollywood, and the reason being is basically control the culture. When you control the culture, you can control what the mainstream general population is receiving.
Satanic worshiping is rampant throughout the government and the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So this guy named Michael Aquino, who we just mentioned in our last video about mind control, was one of the main people working with the CIA, and he was doing most of these experiments in what became kind of like the mastermind behind of what MK-Ultra is today.
He has a long history of doing insane stuff and was actually a military officer. He started the weird demonic cult called Temple of Set. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that.
Why was he doing this? Well, he basically was wanting to turn everything that was upright upside down. That was this whole thing, and that's kind of what Satanism. We basically have to explain this to show you how weird and crazy Hollywood is.
Well, and how wrapped up like mind control is even with things that we're normally consuming.
Right, exactly.
So now the purpose of this is to basically mold society how they want and send messages, dumb us down, make us slaves to the systems, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
MK-Ultra is now a blanket term used for pretty much anything related to mind control. They were using other terms after that, like Project Orion, MK Delta, Project Clean.
And they're getting close to that type level of control. Yeah, dude, they know where everyone is all the time. They know who you are, with what you're watching, your political posts and what you're thinking. And they don't pinpoint know what each and every single human on this planet is thinking. Targeted individuals like me, yeah, they have the ability to, they've already set up networks to basically monitor me 24/7. I'm pinned down in this apartment. I'm literally like a prisoner, relatively free range prisoner. The only time I leave is literally to go get supplies. And that's about it. And so I'm basically trapped in this apartment for over 15 years, pinned down. So they know absolutely everything I do. They can read my mind. They've even played games with me. Like there was this, I'm not going to get into the details, but they did this thing where like, we can read your mind, da 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 da. And I was like, no, you can't. And they're like, yes, you can. Yes, we can. And I was like, what am I thinking? And they're like, you're thinking this, you're thinking that, you're thinking that. I was like, there's no way they could have, it's real, dude. People have said like they open their cell phone and they're thinking about something and like it pops up.
You had it read your mind, your phone yet?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I didn't even, okay. A lot of people have had that happen. They think of the thing and it pops up on their phone. Yeah. I've had the talking about something and it popped up.
Yep.
That's been around a while.
Yes, that's been around a while.
But a bunch of people like, I think you read, so you know about the mind reading headphones?
People have said like they open their cell phone and they're thinking about something and like it pops up. Yeah, dude. They got that shit, dude. They call it neural processing unit for a reason, dude. Neural processing unit. They can read your fucking mind now.
Reading brainwaves and interpreting what people are thinking is a step in that direction.
This next breakthrough is a lot deeper, all the way down to the very tissue of our brains, where researchers have used AI to translate brain scans into text.
UT researchers have essentially created a device called a semantic decoder that can read a person's mind by converting brain activity into a string of text.
The findings of the semantic decoder are undeniably remarkable.
Tonight we turn to news in one specific way that artificial intelligence technology is changing our world, and it is absolutely remarkable.
These neuroscientists at the University of Texas in Austin say they've made a major breakthrough. They've figured out how to translate brain activity into words using artificial intelligence.
The researchers incorporated a generative neural network language model, or generative AI. Interestingly, they used GPT-1, an earlier version of the now famous ChatGPT models. This model can accurately predict the most likely words to follow in a given sequence. If a person hears or thinks the word apple, the decoder learns the corresponding brain activity. When the person encounters a new word or sentence, the algorithm utilizes learned associations to generate a word sequence matching the language stimulus's meaning. Their device can reconstruct continuous language from perceived speech, imagined speech, and silent videos. The company Meta also recently did the same. But that's not all. Just last month, Meta also unveiled an AI system that can analyze a person's brainwaves and predict what that person is looking at. If that's not enough, they were able to do this in real time. Basically, the system was mind reading.
Yeah, dude. They got that shit, dude. They call it neural processing unit for a reason, dude. Neural processing unit. They can read your fucking mind now. And they're implementing this to not just be able to read targeted individuals' mind and key personnel, but like everyone, everywhere, all the time. They know everything everyone is doing and thinking. And then based on that, they're gonna manage the population. Manage the herd. All right. So if I tell you that the reason babies are put into a silver bowl filled with quote-unquote holy water to quote-unquote bless them, well, if I was to tell you that things like that are not what they seem, and they can literally see a person's future and see if they will become a problem. I know, I sound completely fucking nuts, but things like that are not as far-fetched as you might think. Exactly. Anyways, so when I started to work on exposing Epstein and his network of child traffickers and child murderers, I know for sure it cut him deeply. It upset him. And because you see, he was a fan of sorts of mine. Dude, I could tell you the highest levels of government, like I'm talking the very top of what we know in the public sector as government officials, they know who I am. Corporate, same thing. Some of the most successful and most powerful corporate people in the world, they know who I am. Okay? The federal government, I'm probably so high up on the federal government's terror, murder, rapist watch list. In fact, I know for sure that even the list that I exist in is classified. So most government people don't actually know about me. And even most government law enforcement isn't actually privy to everything that they've been doing and collecting on me since I was at least 18 years old. I know for sure I've been on the terrorist list since I was at least 18 years old. Dude, they fucking know me. The anti-gravity stuff I was doing, exposing the secrets behind the F-32 or the F-22 and the F-35, that shit pissed them off so bad, dude. I stopped posting about that shit because it was like, okay, fine. How do you travel faster than light? Very easily. Very, very fucking easily. Just like I said, if you have a cell phone, a modern cell phone, and a microwave oven, I won't say any more, but yeah, dude. Time travel, free energy technology, easy shit, dude. They're finding in these the Aztec Mayan people and these old ancient sites and stuff, like the most revered holy of holy sites where you have to be like the high priest and go into this one place, and it's like they're finding pools of mercury. And they're like, what's the mercury for? And they have like literally depiction of a UFO that crashed. And then they have a puddle of mercury and they're like, what's the mercury for? Free energy, faster than light travel. Dude, aliens don't exist. Life, like I saw this one Catholic priest a couple days ago. He's like, everywhere we look, the universe is completely sterile. Dude.
And I think what we're discovering is that other than here, the universe is sterile.
First of all, if you know anything about the Catholic Church, dude, there's fucking mass graves of babies, and there's mass graves of babies and children's bodies being found everywhere the Catholic Church is involved. You're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of bones of children being found. Wherever the Catholic Church is involved, dude. They found a soccer field. Dude, they found a soccer field literally littered with children's bones.
A mass grave containing the remains of babies and young children has been found at a former Catholic orphanage in Ireland. The finding supports a local historian's efforts to trace the fates of 800 children who died at the facility. The Irish government formed a commission in 2014 to investigate deaths at the Son Secours mother and baby home in County Galway. The children who died were aged between 35 weeks and 3 years.
A Canadian Indigenous group says it found the unmarked graves of more than 700 people at a Catholic residential school in Saskatchewan this week. Many of the remains are believed to be those of children.
A so-called Angels Plot, a place to commemorate the children who died in the home.
Turned over the sod and I just noticed lots of small bones. Turned over the sod and I just noticed lots of small bones. Turned over the sod and I just noticed lots of small bones.
The nuns claim 269 babies died here, the last in 1994. Yet official records say the actual figure is over 1,000. So where are they? We've established the existence of a burial pit for unbaptised children whose deaths aren't recorded anywhere, and it's believed a sewage tank has been laid in the Angels Plot as well. It's an echo of what happened at Tuam.
Now, in other news tonight, significant quantities of human remains have been discovered at the site of a former mother and baby home in Tuam in County Galway. It comes after a commission of investigation began excavations at the site of a children's burial ground in October last year. It followed claims that 800 babies were buried at the site.
After months of investigations and a detailed excavation, confirmation today of what's been described as a shocking discovery. Behind this hoarding, the site where significant quantities of human remains have been found. Some of the bones were found in a large, disused septic tank. More were located in a separate underground structure, longer than the first, and divided into 20 chambers.
This news is very disturbing and will touch everyone's heart. There were, of course, strong suspicions about burials of this kind in Tuam for some time, and it was one of the reasons for setting up the Commission of Investigation in the first place. The information I have received confirms these suspicions, and importantly, they trace the remains specifically to the period of the home's operation rather than to earlier times in our history, such as during the famine.
Scientific analysis on some of the remains revealed the age of death at between 35 fetal weeks to between 2 and 3 years.
6 years on from the discovery of 800 babies' bodies in sewage tanks under a former mother and baby home in the Irish town of Tuam, and a state commission to investigate what really happened still has yet to report. But Tuam seems to be the tip of the iceberg. This is Sean Ross Abbey. Like all such homes, women who'd become pregnant out of marriage were ordered to come here.
Oh, God, it's huge.
This is your first impression when you walk in.
It's like a stately home.
And surrender their babies to the nuns for adoption, while they were made to work in the laundries as a punishment for their sins.
Turns out Michaela was a young, unwed mother, practically a deadly sin to some back then. Her parents all but disowned her. The convent took in hundreds of similar cases like this at that time. There have been investigations into places like this all over Europe. She would have been kept like a prisoner for the length of her pregnancy, and when she finally gave birth, she would have been forced to give the baby up for adoption.
They took her baby.
When was the last time you saw her?
She was walking away with my baby.
Forced to give the baby up for adoption.
They took her baby.
At another home, Bessborough, a confidential Irish health service document showed just how many infants died in the care of the nuns. In 1 year, the death rate was 82%. 900 babies died here, yet only 64 are recorded. The nuns say they can't remember where the rest are. For the relatives, the idea that the remains of thousands of children are scattered around Ireland shouldn't really be a matter for a civil commission of inquiry at all. It should be something for these people, the police. There were 14 mother and baby homes in Ireland. Our investigation has raised concerns about a number of them, but by no means all. The Irish State Commission has an opportunity to reveal the truth about what happened throughout the 20th century, with all the implicit criticism of the role of the Catholic Church in society. Whether it will remains an open question until it decides to release its own findings.
Dude, first of all, if you know anything about the Catholic Church, dude, there's fucking mass graves of babies, and there's mass graves of babies and children's bodies being found everywhere the Catholic Church is involved. You're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of bones of children being found wherever the Catholic Church is involved, dude. They found a soccer field. Dude, they found a soccer field literally littered with children's bones. And like, there's one quick 5-second report of it in the news. Oh yeah, we found a soccer field, and we turned over the grass, and it was like, we found children's bones everywhere. And not only that, they had a pit. And inside that pit, like a giant pit at one end of the field, inside the pit was literally completely full to the brim with children's bones. Oh yeah, so talk about dead children and talk about pedophilia. You know, the two things Epstein's associated with, dead children and pedophilia and secret societies. Dude, if you look up Catholic Church sex abuse cases.
There are new findings of sexual abuse of children by Catholic priests.
For centuries, Mexicans have been putting their trust in the leaders of the Catholic Church. But it was one of its most popular and powerful priests, Father Marcial Maciel, who church authorities say preyed on young seminarians and children. As a young scholar in the Vatican, Jose Barba became one of Maciel's youngest victims. At the time, he says he didn't question Maciel because he was a fervent believer in the Word of God and that of his superiors.
I thought that part of the problem was in me because I resisted submitting myself to God's will.
Church authorities in Mexico now admit that over a 40-year period, Maciel abused nearly 200 victims, including 2 of his own children. Barba and 7 other alleged victims brought their cases to the Vatican. The Catholic Church in Mexico acknowledged that not only Maciel but many other priests had committed abuses.
Some dishonest and criminal priests have irreparably damaged innocent children with their abominable acts. They have betrayed their sacred ministry and thrown mud over the Catholic Church.
Police and prosecutors in June staged raids on church offices in Chile, seizing documents, phones, tablets, and computers, looking for evidence of sex crimes the church had not reported to police. The raids marked the start of what experts say is one of the most aggressive investigations ever against the Roman Catholic Church undertaken by a judicial authority. Heading the probe, 45-year-old Emiliano Arias, a Chilean provincial prosecutor, experienced in fighting organized crime. Reuters correspondent Cassandra Garrison is in the capital, Santiago.
In an exclusive interview, Arias said his team seized documents containing 30 cases of alleged sexual abuse dating back to 2007, which the church never reported to police. He also said some local church officials tried to destroy documents, but his team managed to salvage them.
The sex abuse scandal in Chile reached a boiling point during Pope Francis's visit in January, when he was greeted by violent protests. Angry Chileans confronted him for being initially dismissive of sexual abuse claims. Soon after, the Pope dispatched an investigator to Chile who produced a confidential 2,300-page report on the allegations. After receiving the report, the Vatican summoned all 34 of Chile's bishops to Rome in May, where they all offered to resign. The Pope has so far accepted 5 resignations and is expected to accept more.
Dude, if you look up Catholic Church sex abuse cases, now look, if you're a priest and there's like a 15, 16-year-old girl and she's coming through her thing and her parents are like, look, you know, she's coming through this thing, she's in heat, you know, can you help her?
The average age of sexual initiation for men is 16 years old, and for women it is 15 years old.
15 and no husband. You must put those birthing hips to good use at once, lest your womb shrivel up and die. You're weird.
If you're a priest and there's like a 15, 16-year-old girl and she's coming through her thing and her parents are like, look, you know, she's coming through this thing, she's in heat, you know, can you help her? You know what I mean? There's nothing more innocent than that. I'll be honest with you. I know, oh my God, you're a pedophile, blah, 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 blah. Come on, dude. But that's not what's happening. Like, you're talking about priests raping little boys in the butt, 10-year-old boys, like having anal sex with them.
Pope Francis on Saturday accepted the resignation of Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, one of the U.S. Catholic Church's most prominent figures who's been at the center of a widening sexual abuse scandal. Last month, American church officials said allegations that he sexually abused a 16-year-old boy almost 50 years ago were credible and substantiated. Since then, another minor has come forward claiming McCarrick abused him when he was 11 years old, and several men alleged McCarrick forced them to sleep with him at a beach house in New Jersey when they were adult seminarians studying for the priesthood. His sudden fall from grace stunned the American church because he was a widely respected leader for decades and a confidant of popes and presidents. McCarrick says he has absolutely no recollection of the alleged abuse of the teenager 50 years ago, but has not commented on the other allegations.
Look, honey, Philly's home from his camping trip.
Uh-oh, looks like somebody got raped by Father Flanagan.
Again.
Archbishop, you knew it was a crime for an adult to engage in sex with a kid.
I'm not sure whether I knew it was a crime or not. I understand today it's a crime.
One priest so violently raped a young boy that he had to get treatment for his back injuries as a result of that abuse, treatment that involved opioid painkillers that ultimately he got hooked on and died from.
But that's not what's happening. Like, you're talking about priests raping little boys in the butt, 10-year-old boys, like having anal sex with them and stuff like that. and not just one or two cases, not just 10 priests, like literally hundreds of priests from each district, like hundreds and hundreds of priests from each district are sodomizing and raping these little children. And it's like been going on for literally centuries.
We are joined now by Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro.
23 grand jurors met for 2 years in Pennsylvania. They unearthed over 301 predator priests, more than 1,000 victims, children in Pennsylvania. They found that there was not only widespread sexual abuse, rape of children, but they found that there was a systematic cover-up that went all the way to the Vatican. It's horrifying to think what these men of God did to these children, and then to have the cover-up that quite literally was very purposeful. They were doing it to shield these predator priests from law enforcement. We have evidence that the Vatican had knowledge of the cover-up. It's just a fundamental disappointment and anger in institutions. We're seeing institutions, whether it's in Hollywood, whether it's at universities, whether it's in government centers, and certainly whether it's at the church, putting their own institutional reputation above the welfare of children. We will not tolerate that in Pennsylvania, and we shouldn't tolerate it anywhere. Child rape is never acceptable, and it is never okay to cover it up.
We bring in Mike Rezendes. He won a Pulitzer as a member of the Boston Globe Spotlight team, which, of course, uncovered a similar pattern of sex abuse within the Catholic Church in Boston. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
You know, you look at this and you think, okay, this is Pennsylvania. It doesn't even include Philadelphia, but it's, greater Pennsylvania. But the sense is that every state in America could have a report like this if they looked into it. Is that the case?
I think that's absolutely true. I think if there were an attorney general in every major city in America that wanted to investigate this, they would find pretty much the same thing. The story is the same, whether it's Boston or Pennsylvania or Tucson or Los Angeles or Ireland,
globally. Yeah.
Ireland, Australia, Chile. It's the same. The depravity is the same. The criminality is the same. And the cover-up's the same.
Talking about the cover-up, what I found among the most sickening details in this is that there was a cover-up, almost a playbook that the church hierarchy followed. Surprised to see that some of the priests went and kind of confessed, and you thought at that moment maybe something would be done, but no.
And not just one or two cases, not just 10 priests, like literally hundreds of priests from each district, like hundreds and hundreds of priests from each district are sodomizing and raping these little children. And it's like been going on for literally centuries. And you're wondering, well, okay, so they have these little kids that are getting ass raped by the priests, the Catholic priests, and then they're finding mass graves of children, and like the Epstein files and like the occult and all this other stuff. It's like, what's going on here, guys? Like, but the priests are like against demons. Like, if you were a demon, would you take over a church and convert all your priests into demons?
Shouldn't be talking about such things here.
True. The time for talk is over.
Don't drink too deeply, little friend. Make her into another one like yourself.
Don't you want some?
Oh, yeah, God wants you to give us your children. Don't worry about them getting ass raped. They're going to be gone soon enough. They're going to be with God soon.
Some of the findings are quite staggering. They use the word endemic to talk about the rape and abuse of Irish boys in Christian Brother-run orphanages and industrial schools. These would be institutions.
I know I sound fucking disgusting and dark, but that's literally that's what's happening, and nobody's talking about it. Like, this one lady's like telling people that they're finding fields and fields of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dead children that literally were like, and there's a survivor. And they're like, oh, well, they could have all died during like some pandemic or something like that, or some like, disease came to, no. He's like, the survivors, like, yeah, friends would just disappear. And we would like, where did they go? And nobody would say where they went. And like, just like they were being picked off in the school that he was in.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is apologizing to Indigenous Canadians after the remains of more than 200 Indigenous children were found last week. Some were as young as 3. Many from Indigenous communities gathered this week to honor the lives lost. The remains were discovered in Kamloops, British Columbia, at what was once Canada's largest residential school for Indigenous children. Our national correspondent Jerika Duncan spoke with a survivor. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. This is such a dark chapter of history for Canada that needs to be told. The Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia used to have at least 51 confirmed deaths on its official record. Well, sadly, one survivor told us he was not surprised to find out at least 215 more students were found buried there.
Sometimes kids would not show up in classroom. They would disappear for the next day, and we knew that they were gone, but we didn't know where they were gone.
Gary Gottfriedson is a survivor of the Kamloops Indian Residential School. He's among the thousands of Indigenous peoples legally mandated by the Canadian government to attend such institutions. They were set up in the late 1800s and often operated by the Catholic Church.
Just like they were being picked off in the school that he was in. Friends would just like not show up for class and disappear. And we didn't know where they go. Now they're finding in the same school that he was at, they're finding their dead children's bones all around the schoolyard. And like there's even reports that the children were being forced to dig their own grave.
Children who had disappeared, in some cases, graves that they had been compelled to help dig.
Children as young as 6 years old were forced in the middle of the night to go dig graves for other children. Now, if that is true, that is absolutely horrifying. But that begs a lot of questions. Why would they be digging graves in the middle of the night? Why would they be forcing kids to dig graves? This sounds like utter villainy. So if it is true, it's absolutely staggering.
And like there's even reports that the children were being forced to dig their own grave, and then late at night the demon would come out, turn them into a pile of fucking skull and bones, deposit them into the grave, and cover them up. They're picking off the children at schools. And like nobody's talking about this.
All the collection money brought in, all their corporate investments. It's in the trillions, but of course they've got to keep fiddling the figures. It's like in Canada when the government keeps changing the figures about how many children died in the red schools when it was over 50%.
To find all of these missing children, because we knew that 3,000 to 4,000 was a very conservative estimate. And now what we are finding, some are calling it a discovery. What I've said repeatedly is no, it's an affirmation. It's a validation of everything that we have been told over and over again. And for whatever reason, we've chosen not to listen until now.
Like, it's like in the news. It's like literally mainstream news. And it's like, even the lady who's doing the investigation is like, for some reason, nobody wants to fucking listen to the fact that they're finding fucking, forget about the child pedophilia in the Catholic Church. What about the fucking mass graves of babies and children all the way in the Vatican? They found fucking buckets full of dead children's bones in the Vatican. And like, quote, I quote, in a location that was off limits to the public.
That mystery at the Vatican. What happened to that 15-year-old daughter of a Vatican worker who vanished? A tip led her family and authorities to a Vatican City property. And today, thousands of unmarked bones were recovered underground. ABC's Will Reeve is at the Vatican.
Tonight, new clues in the mysterious disappearance of a teenage Italian girl. Numero così enorme. A forensics expert saying thousands of bones found, all underneath a Vatican college. Those experts now working to determine if the bones could also include those of Emanuela Orlandi. Orlandi's family believes the Vatican has not revealed everything it knows. But in the process, Vatican officials found remains nearby. The big question tonight, whose bones are these? Orlandi family supporters vowing tonight they will not be satisfied until there are answers.
The Vatican has long insisted it had nothing to do with the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi, but if these bones turn out to be her, it faces a difficult task in explaining how they got there in an area off limits to the public. Tom?
For some reason, nobody wants to fucking listen to the fact that they're finding fucking, forget about the child pedophilia in the Catholic Church. What about the fucking mass graves of babies and children all the way in the Vatican? They found fucking buckets full of dead children's bones in the Vatican. And like, quote, I quote, in a location that was off limits to the public. What's going on here, guys?
I was wrong about many things. But no one should sacrifice their children for their own gain.
This is a very important news conference where we are announcing charges regarding an illegal adoption scheme
involving human smuggling of more than 40 women from the Marshall Islands to the state of Utah. The women were recruited in their home country and offered a significant amount of money to place their babies for adoption here in Utah. This activity violates several Utah laws, including human smuggling, sale of a child, and communications fraud. The commercialization of children is illegal.
What are we called? Murder boner?
Toothed vagina.
Give me the baby! Give me the baby! Yummy, yummy, yummy! Give me the baby! I want the baby! I eat the baby! Yummy, yum, 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 yum! Yummy, 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 yummy! Give me the baby! I want to eat the baby!
Toothed vagina.
Oh, excuse me. Do you have a moment for human babies?
Wake up! Wake up! All of you! Wake up! Who's feeding on the children?
Discovery in Ireland. A mass grave of children has been found at a site that was once a Catholic orphanage. Nuns ran the home where thousands of unmarried mothers were forced to stay as punishment. Many of the women were able to leave after serving their time. Their children were left behind.
With a big tattoo on her pride.
What happens in the church?
And we do sacrifice and eat the baby.
What do you mean sacrifice and eat the baby?
So we kill the baby and eat it and drink the blood from it.
Is that true, Gabriel?
Yes. And we dance with the skulls.
You what?
We dance with the skulls in the church.
What skulls?
Skulls of the baby.
What happened to the pregnancies, to the babies?
They were aborted by my nan or by one of the doctors at the house.
There were doctors there at that house?
Yeah, there was two, I think. Yeah, and a nurse.
What would happen to the fetuses, the unborn babies?
I used to be taken away most of the time, and one time the baby was taken out of me and then killed in front of me because it was still alive.
And then, what would happen?
Well, after they killed it, they would eat it. But we were also made to eat it.
You were made to eat your own fetus?
Yeah.
Who made you do this?
My nan.
Now to Canada, where horrors from a different era have returned to haunt the country. Another mass grave of children has been unearthed, school children. And this is the third one since May. 182 unmarked graves have been found in British Columbia. More than 1,000 mass graves have been found in Canada. The findings have led to an angry backlash. But neither the Justin Trudeau government nor the Catholic Church wants to take responsibility.
Give me the baby! Give me the baby! Yummy, yummy, yummy! Give me the baby! I want the baby! I eat the baby! Yummy, yum, 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 yum! Yummy, 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 yummy! Give me the baby! I want to eat the baby!
We took their babies, and we gifted them, or we sold them.
Don't tell me our avenging angel is a former nun.
It's deeper than that. Turns out Michaela was a young, unwed mother, practically a deadly sin to some back then. Her parents all but disowned her. The convent took in hundreds of similar cases like this at that time. There have been investigations into places like this all over Europe. She would have been kept like a prisoner for the length of her pregnancy, and when she finally gave birth, she would have been forced to give the baby up for adoption.
They took her baby.
We took their babies, and we gifted them, or we sold them.
Hello, Imperial Dragon Restaurant? I've got a herd of you-know-what's for sale.
We took their babies, and we gifted them, or we sold them.
I'm absolutely outraged by what we're allowing to happen to our children. These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
We took their babies, and we gifted them, or we sold them.
They're carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are they carnivorous? They eat humans?
Yes. And they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children. You know, and we've been told, you shouldn't talk about that. You know, other people say, well, you better not talk about the reptilians. Well, you know, bull. You know, why not? These children were food. And I'm supposed to just shut up and not say anything about it because people don't want to hear it? That's tough. That's tough.
Give me the baby! Give me the baby! Yummy, yummy, yummy! Give me the baby! I want the baby! I eat the baby! Yummy, yum, 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 yum! Yummy, 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 yummy! Give me the baby! I want to eat the baby!
Toothed vagina.
I want to eat the baby!
What's going on here, guys? Millions of children are being trafficked every year for sex trafficking. If it was for, there would be literally child brothels on every corner of every street. If millions of children are being trafficked every year for quote-unquote sex trafficking, there would be child brothels on every fucking corner of every single street. Oh, well, you're a pedophile.
The tool they use in politics. You do it, but then you say that that's what your opponent is doing.
whatever they're doing, they accuse you of doing. It's more than a tactic. It's a psychological syndrome. It is a syndrome. It's a psychological syndrome where, like, a normal person would be incapable of accusing someone else of doing exactly what he himself is doing. Like, that's insane.
Right.
You'd be a crazy person to do that. But they do it at every single turn. And in fact, they do it so consistently, it's the only reliable gauge of what they're actually doing.
Well, you're a pedophile. Dude, the age of consent for most of the world is between 12 and 15 years old. I know, nobody in the United States wants to say that. Dude, most of the world, the age of consent is between 12 and 15. Even here in the United States, the age of consent is legally between the age 14 and 16 in most jurisdictions. Even in California, okay? If you're friends with somebody, okay, so say I'm 25 years old and like there's this beautiful 16-year-old girl and we're close and we're friends and we start dating and I court her, that's as natural could be, okay?
But then my brain is going, is 15 and a half too young to experience independence like that? But if you think about it, back in the day, before wherever we are at this time in life, 15-year-olds were having children and starting households and raising kids and, running a whole entire whatever.
If you become friends with the parents and you say, look, me and, let's just say Jenny, me and Jenny have been dating and, we're falling in love and we want to consummate our relationship. The parents can say, yeah, no problem. And that's legally binding. They're both underage of what? Underage of consent? The age of consent for most of the world is between 12 and 15 years old. Okay? The age of consent for most of the United States is between 14 and 16 years old. Even in California, the age of consent, I don't know if it's unlimited, but I mean, obviously if the parents are not going to let you, have sexual relations if the girl's too young, but the parents can decide when their child and who they can fall in love with. That's the age of consent. So underage, under what age? Okay, and then, 18 years old. Okay, so under 18 years old, I get that, right? I get it, okay? But first of all, the age of consent for most of the world has been between 12 and 15. And even in the United States, it's between 14 and 16 for most jurisdictions. And on top of that, humans do not all of a sudden become sexually fertile at 18 years old. Puberty starts at like 12 or 13 or even younger, as young as 10 or 11.
Do you girls have your periods? Yeah. How old were you when you got it? 10, 12, 11. Were you guys scared? Yeah. And how old were you guys when you guys got it? 13. And are you scared to get it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And what age did you guys get them?
12, I think.
13? Yeah. Were you guys scared?
Not really.
Kind of. How old were you when you got it? 12. Were you scared?
Yeah.
That's puberty, dude. That's why they call it puberty. You go through puberty, you become a fertile young woman. And fertile young women, men are attracted to fertile young women. They always have been, they always will be. So you could say, okay, the priest was, helping out a family. There was a 15-year-old girl who was going through this thing, and the father was there to, help her with her passion and desires.
Isaiah chapter 11, verses 6 to 8.
Oh, you can't trust anyone, least of all a priest. He's not called father for nothing. And don't bother to whisper, he's deaf as a post.
And the father was there to, help her with her passion and desires, her new hormonal changes in her body. And he's a safe guy and he's gonna, take care of her. Fine, whatever. That's between you and the family and the priest, okay? That's natural. But then when you talk about the Satanism that's actually happening in the Catholic Church.
Eating the body of Christ and drinking his blood is satanic. I don't know where that came into our, religious concepts. People are going to fight me over this, but you've heard me have this rant before. I mean, I have a theory that when King James commissioned the rewriting of the Bible, overseen by the headmaster priory of Sion Secret Society, that they put these sick things into it. I don't think it was originally in there. If somebody has an original version, if somebody read that, let me know. But as of right now, I'm going to assume that the King James version that everybody in the world follows has something sick going on behind it, because,
But then when you talk about the Satanism that's actually happening in the Catholic Church and the countless cases of children and especially boys being sodomized by priests, okay, fine, homosexuality and stuff like that, but you're talking like 10-year-old boys, and you're talking about technically what is not a natural act of procreation, okay? So there's like, you know, this like taboo stuff gets involved, and then like, you know, you hear about sexuality, and then, okay, fine, whatever. The priest got some kinks. Fine. What about the fucking piles of dead bodies that they're finding? Children's dead bodies and skeletons. They're literally pulling up buckets, fucking buckets full of children's bones out of the Vatican. They're finding football field sized fields literally littered with fucking children's bones. And on one side of the field, and they found this in several different fields where the Catholic Church was running orphanages. They found pits full to the brim of dead children's bones. So, you know, you can say, oh, the pedophilia, oh my God, it's so bad, the pedophilia, oh my God. Some man had lust for a 15, 16-year-old girl, oh my God, oh, he's a little handsy, you know. No, whatever, dude, that's natural. I know, condemn me, I'm already a terror, murder, rapist, pedophile, you can call me everything you want. Condemn me all you want. That's relatively fucking natural, okay? Okay, fine, the priest had sex with a 13-year-old boy. Whatever, dude, okay, that's some fucking sick shit, okay? But that's nothing compared to the fact that they're pulling out literally buckets and buckets and buckets full of children's bones out of the Vatican. And like literally soccer field full of fucking dead children's bones. It's in the mainstream media. I've made videos about it. Nobody fucking talks about it. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, Okay, so going back to, I didn't really start to comprehend about what was happening on this planet till 2024. And, fuck, dude. Anyways, so when I started to work on exposing Epstein and his network of child traffickers and child murderers, I knew for sure it cut him deeply and it upset him. And because you see, he was a fan of sorts of mine. Yeah, dude, Epstein, the highest levels of government, they know me. All the fucking super Satanists, and even the Enlightenment community. The Enlightenment community knows me because my work in both the dark and the light. Okay? I've done some, like, The Purpose of Life, okay? Starseed, My Bliss to You. I forgot the exact article. I think it was called something, Gravity Waves in the Standard 9. Some really, The Majestic Crystal Universe. I've done all these, like, you know, the pineal gland and, I don't know, something about the pineal gland, The Purpose of Life, and all these other, like, really groundbreaking, in my opinion, and I know for sure other people who have watched and seen my videos and my articles and presentations, I know 100% for sure that they've seen them and they know who they are. And they know who I am, I should say. And that includes the occultists and the Illuminati and the Illuminate, and so you have the light and the dark. They both know who I am. Okay? And I know fucking Epstein was one of those guys because he was right around 2017 when I was doing all my Enlightenment paperwork and stuff like that, my papers and videos. He was into the whole Enlightenment thing. And he was also into the anti-gravity thing. So he was like, I was like literally I was one of his guys that he was watching. That's why I'm in the Epstein files. He knew who I was. And then I did the piece in 2019 naming him and the other people involved in the human sacrifice and the child trafficking and stuff like that. I know for sure that hit him hard, cut him deeply. Anyways, he was a fan of sorts of mine. If you look into the Epstein files, he was all into spirituality and searching for the meaning of life, etc. And right around 2015 through 2020, I was releasing paper after paper and even making video presentations about the nature of reality, how the universe works, the purpose of life, the journey of the soul, etc. The pineal gland and the majestic crystal universe. The universe is a naturally occurring crystal core quantum computer. All that esoteric stuff that both occultists and enlightenment seekers seek. I also was working on gravity and even anti-gravity technologies. And you know he was all into that. So yeah, we were basically on many levels into the same shit. Yeah, sure, I love watching porn. I saw some of the porn he was watching, and yeah, everyone loves to see, quote unquote, small chicks get fucked with big dicks. Yeah, dude. That's like literally the #1 category for porn. Does that mean that we are the same? Well, as in human man, yes. In that regard, all human men are the same. Everyone loves pretty little girls, pretty girls. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate more on that because I've already gone through that. Oh yeah, and what about me admitting to loving watching innocent, pure, joyful, beautiful, fertile, ample-breasted babes singing and dancing and shaking their tits and ass in skimpy clothes, radiating love, joy, and happiness, and literally singing about being ready to fuck. Again, last time I checked, everyone loves pretty little girls. Don't be ridiculous. Everybody wants this. Yeah, dude, I fucking love pretty little girls singing and dancing and shaking their tits and ass. I fucking love it. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking stupid? I love beautiful, fertile young women singing and dancing. And even the girls that you could say, oh, she's too young, she's too young. Yeah, she is too young. But it doesn't mean she's any less precious. Doesn't mean she's any less precious. It doesn't mean that in a couple years from now, she will be an absolutely babe, a viable, beautiful young female who hopefully has a chance to procreate and have a family and live a happy life. These people, they're so sick, they try to twist what is the absolute most innocent, natural thing into like this dark satanic stuff. And I already went through the truth about what's happening to so many children. I'm not gonna go on. I said enough right there. Okay. Because I love to watch the videos of pretty little girls put out of themselves, pretty little girls that they put out of themselves singing and dancing and radiating love, joy, and happiness does not make me a monster. Because I love to watch the videos pretty little girls put out of themselves singing and dancing and radiating love, joy, and happiness does not make me a monster. Despite everyone says, it's literally the only thing left that is true and pure in this world. And no wonder why they are under attack in the most heinous and brutal ways. What is happening on the planet and to so many children is so deviant and dark, it is literally beyond comprehension. If you only knew the truth about what is happening to such a high percentage of all those pretty little girls, you would literally simply drop dead or wish you were dead. Unless, of course, you are a Satanist and have been involved in, unless, of course, you are a Satanist and have been involved unless, of course, you are a Satanist and have been involved in it your whole life, as it would seem so many people are. For what's happening on this planet and like literally everyone pretending like it's not happening, everybody, you could pretty much say everyone in the Catholic Church and all the other major religions have all been infiltrated. The religions have been infiltrated and corrupted, and now they basically mean Satanism. So many people are, all the way from the very top to the evenly spread out homeless on the streets. What is happening on this planet is so dark, it's literally darker than death itself. It's beyond comprehension what's happening on this planet. Now, yes, it's true, I am in the Epstein files. I even saw some of the files I am in and some of the associated material in the files, but I can't find them anymore. So I guess they have been redacted again. Now, I know that only makes me look even worse. For the last 15 years, everywhere I go, people have called the police and other law enforcement and even news agencies and told them that I am driving around, taking pictures of children and trying to abduct children. And law enforcement has done nothing about it. And now I am in the Epstein files. Am I being protected? Think about that. For the last 15 years, so many people have witnessed and reported me trying to traffic children. I have literally been accused of being a terrorist, a child murderer, a rapist, a child rapist, etc. And law enforcement hasn't done a single thing about it? Am I being protected? What can I say? No, I am not being protected. I have no reason to be protected. Will anyone accept that answer? No. No, they won't. And what about all the reports about what about all the reports? What about all the witnesses? What about all the victims? What reports? What witnesses? What victims? Where? Hand to God, I have never hurt a man, woman, or child. I've never fucking been involved with any Satanist shit. I've never been involved with trafficking children or hurting children. Never, ever, ever, ever. I've been a victim, literally persecuted my entire life, trying to run from this fucking Satanist network that's been trying to poison me and kill me and discredit me and do everything they can to shut me down, so that I can't enlighten people, so that I cannot enlighten people and wake people up to the truth about what's happening on this planet. I'm the victim. I've been persecuted, okay? On the other hand, if I say yes, Epstein and I were both into esoteric, occult, enlightenment, illumination. We were both interested in anti-gravity, extraterrestrial life. We both were seeking answers about reality and the meaning of life. We were both implicated in human trafficking, of children trafficking. We are both accused rapists, and everyone knows we both have a body count that is larger than Wikipedia. I'm being facetious here. What am I supposed to do now? It's out there. I'm in the Epstein files. Yes, I am. I don't have anything to do with Epstein. No, I don't. But what now? Now that my name and other papers of mine have been redacted, does that make me look innocent, or does that make me look even more guilty? All I can say at this point, go fuck yourself. Orion Michael Guy. The end. No, not the end. That's the end for now. More to come.